Good evening. Welcome to Babes with Books, our June edition. Sorry we're a week late. We just had a bit of a scheduling conflict last week. And we are coming to you today to talk to you about the little book of Hygge. Hygge? Can you see the picture? Yeah. I don't have a copy of it, so there's a picture. It's The Danish Way to Live Well. So, and it is by Meek Viking. I'm really sorry. It's just, I don't even think we could say these. I bet they don't even translate into the English alphabet well. But so the idea between Hygge is that it is the art of creating intimacy or coziness of the soul. It is a, I wouldn't say self-help book, but sort of a self-living book, a way of living book. The reason that I chose this, I was the one that chose this book, was I was looking for something that other people might be interested in reading, something that was getting a lot of press. And there were, I think, 3 different Hygge books on the bestsellers list when I chose this one. This one's pretty well regarded. It is written by the Meek Viking, who is the CEO of the Happiness Research Institute in Copenhagen. Yes, that's his job, or her job. I don't even know, actually. His. And this book kind of goes through helping you live the Danish way of life, the Hygge, which is basically trying to be happy is kind of what I understood. So how to pick the right lighting, how to host a dinner party with the Hygge feeling in your heart.
I'm sorry.
So, what did you guys think of this book?
Well, geez, based on your sarcasm, I can't wait to hear what you think of the book. Okay, so I'll start, and we'll wave down this way. No, actually, I want to know what you think first.
What I think? I do think that these books can have some fun tips and some value. I think, actually, no, like that's not the word I'm looking for. I think that they can be enjoyable, and you can pull something from them. And when I say these books, I feel really stupid for kind of being sucked into a fad is kind of what I felt like as I was reading this. Following books, there was one like similar to this last year, Marie Kondo's The Art of Cleaning Up, or the
Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
Right on, look at that. Yes, tidying, how to fold your socks, and etc. And it was everywhere. And I mean, I believe we can all relate to the Feng Shui days as well, right? When you were buying Feng Shui books and how to arrange your furniture.
Yeah.
So I don't think that these books are... I am such a mean person. I don't think these books are useless, nor do I think they're valuable. I think that you can pull something from them. I think they make a good gift if you don't know what to get somebody. That's about what I think.
So I just want to say, it's okay to say, I don't think that this is a good book. Okay, so let's just we don't need to beat around the bush here. Yeah, people want to know our true opinions.
I know, but I struggle with that even there because it's my opinion of a book, but I don't think that they're valueless. Yeah,
so yeah. I thought the book was quite simple. I guess for me, I thought the book had value. I enjoyed it. I talked about it afterwards. So I didn't think the book was particularly well written.
No.
And that I gained much out of it, mainly because I pretty much try to live my life that way anyway. That's how I'm happy, because I do all kinds of things. And we can talk a little bit about what some of the tips were in the book. So I didn't really gain any astounding knowledge that was life-changing for me. However, I did talk about it for about 2 weeks afterwards with various people. So it struck up conversations, and then people kind of talked about the importance of Hygge, which really doesn't translate into anything English.
That's why that word is continuing to be used.
Other than a great big paragraph explanation,
Yeah.
which basically is make your life cozy. So make your atmosphere cozy, get together with friends. Anyway, sorry, I said we would get into that later.
Yeah,
I'm
go
curious
ahead.
if Shauna liked this book, because this seems like it's a book that's probably right up your alley.
Yes, definitely. I've spent many hours reading a lot of these self-improvement books.
Thank you, improvement.
Yeah.
I like a lot better than help.
Help, yeah, I don't like that
Thank you.
term
Yeah.
either. I think it would depend on where you are in your stage of life.
Okay.
So if I would have picked up the book of Hygge, or Hygge,
Yeah.
when I read this book, I might have been more affected by it.
Okay.
But this book, I read, 4 or 5 years ago now? And I blogged as I read this book, The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. This was a life-changing book. Whereas the book of Hygge was not for me, but I think because this kind of already had laid the foundation for me in simplifying my life and finding joy in things, and that's what the gist of that book is, in my opinion, in all these books, is finding those simple things. Because I look around every single day and people are, this time of year especially, people are exhausted, running and freaking out and oh my god, and buying this and buying that, and it's still, there has been some changes in the past 4 or 5 years, but it still seems that we have to have more, run, and think that we're going to find happiness on the other side.
Yes.
And
So I guess my question too was, do you feel that books like this, because there's a lot of them out there, and like you were saying, you know, it was feng shui, and then it was, you know, tidying up,
yeah,
or
well, this was a
minimalism was
big
another,
hype
you know,
Was
big
that one
thing.
too?
Sure.
Okay.
yeah.
So that every kind of season there seems to be a new
Yeah.
book like that. Is it important for us to have books like that? Are we less affected by it because we've read things like The Happiness Project? It was kind of like, yeah, okay, I know that. I've been practicing that already. Or, like, do they serve an essential purpose of recentering us and like, oh yeah, I gotta remember to do that?
I think for some people they really do. Not for myself. I would actually really like to find a life-changing book for myself that really was like, oh, hang on, and then I could go to and read to recenter myself. I know a lot of people have certain books. My husband is a parenting book aficionado. He loves them. He reads them. If he's having some bad parenting moments, like he's got some bad juju, he'll go and read one of his like 50 parenting books that he has, and he instantly is recentered, and he is refocused on those ideals that he wants to bring into being as a father. And I really respect that and kind of am jealous of it, that I can't find that. I tend to be distrustful of books, actually, and of authors, and that's a really awful thing to say as a reader, and they don't deserve it, but I do. I spend a lot of the time reading them, and I'm like, really? Like, especially when someone in these self-improvement books, they like recount the story, like, oh, I had this client, and this happened, and then this is what they learned from it. I'm like, you remember that? I think you made that up.
So this brings us
So this
back
is my
to
problem.
Amy Schumer's book.
Yes.
Because we had this conversation, I think,
Right.
a couple months ago about Maya really not liking
How do I fix
self-improvement books or biographies in general, because she basically you feel it's it's
I
not
do.
genuine. It's disingenuous.
I have yet to find one that feels genuine. I'm going to make that your project.
So viewers,
I need a
I'll
genuine
actually
one.
take that segue
Yeah.
to say, we want to hear your questions. We want to hear your comments. If you have suggestions for us, if you have a suggestion out there for Maya
Yeah.
of a book that she could read that is life-changing, let's challenge her. We'll get her reading maybe by this time next year. She can come back to us. This is your homework.
Okay.
That she's going to come back to us after reading or skimming some of these
Yeah.
books. Like, if you
Yeah.
don't like them, don't finish reading them. So let
Give
us
me a
know.
list.
Give her a list, and we'll try and read them to you, and maybe we'll talk
Yeah.
about this again next year.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what I'm looking for. I am looking for something that I can say, actually, yeah, like, I need this.
There is something I want to say though to that thing, that idea of that one thing that's going to
Yes.
make me feel centered and stuff. And I got I get these emails every day these daily thoughts kind of thing. And the one that I printed it out and I stuck it on my bathroom wall for the longest time. And you think I'd have the exact wording memorized, but I don't. But it says, read your books, search your gurus, do yoga, do all these things. Go ahead and find all the, look and search and search. But make sure you come back to you.
Yeah.
Because the answer is right there.
And that's
true.
Yeah.
You know, bring in all the information, but you know.
Maybe you have to find that center.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't
Maybe it's not from books.
connect with.
I have had
improvement
some
books
fiction
because
books
you don't
that have
need any
changed me.
improvement.
Yeah.
I have had some fiction books that I will think about and think, I want to be better, and I want the world to be better, so that that story does or doesn't happen, or so that. And I actually had one this year that and I can't say that there's more than 5 for me actually, but I had one this year, and I can't imagine ever looking at things the same way because of that book. Yeah, so perhaps it's just not my genre. It is something that I just have to kind of, which is why I like to try and say my opinions with that bit of a caveat that I didn't necessarily, this isn't a book for me, but I actually probably would buy this book for somebody else. There are, like, I can think of someone
And
in my
that's
head
the way
right
I
now.
felt. I was like, I could
Yeah, for
definitely. There's people that should read this book.
Yeah,
So.
there's people that I think could enjoy it and either
It'd be a
enjoy it
great
because that's how
wedding
they want to
gift,
live
I
their
think.
life.
It would be a really great
Yeah.
wedding gift along with a couple, like some cozy socks or something.
Did you guys have a favorite tip then?
I was actually just
Speaking
going
of
to notice that.
cozy socks.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite hygge?
Well, the cozy socks for sure. Like just being able to curl up with the fire and candles, and like they talked about candles and how many candles Danes use. It's like, holy smoke.
Candles
Smoke.
with a fire. Candles with a fire and a hot beverage like tea or coffee. Just the smell and a cinnamon bun, a warm cinnamon bun.
I haven't had
That
dinner
just
yet.
makes my heart like happy when I think of that
Yes.
those
Oh,
things.
yeah.
There was one thing in there that I do try to do, but it just was like, okay, I'm doing this right. Like this, the Danes who live happily say I should do this. So like, I like coffee in the morning, and I like to have a cup of coffee, at least one, where I don't need to move. I don't need to do anybody else's breakfast, or like I don't want to run with every single cup of coffee because I usually have about 3. I like 3 cups. And I want one of them where I can sit, and because I'm very good at sitting and being quiet. Like, I really am a good sitter and a do-nothinger. Like, so for me to get that time and take that time is really important to me, and I can feel when I do actually make myself do it that I feel a lot better about the day. So I think that's a good thing too.
What was yours?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was the candles and
Candles and
cozy
yeah,
and have
socks.
the
So
fire and
on
stuff.
the other flip side, what was the tip that you were like, that's pushing it? All right, don't really see that having an effect on life. I have one, that's why I asked.
I wrote down the one, pick the right lighting. I was like, really? Like, I don't know. I'm not redoing my
Just like the
electric.
sunshine.
Like,
it was a little bit over the top for all this thing.
Yeah.
Buy this and buy that.
And
oh
I
my
could
God.
feel, like I just thought, like if I can live a certain way, fine. But when you're wanting me to like add all these hygge, like it was like a hygge store was gonna open. Like,
Well, I'm sure that they have.
I think yeah.
The one I didn't like was the whole wardrobe thing. I was like, so I need to wear a lot of tweed and browns and neutrals, and that'll make me feel happy. I was like, you should dress to be happy, but that particular style doesn't really make you happy.
I went through that's funny, the wardrobe thing, because I was just talking to my sister about this, because she tried to do something like simplify and tried to do like the capsule wardrobe, and she's like, I can't do this. Like I've tried, I put stuff in bags and I keep getting it out. And so then she went online and someone wrote about people that can't do this, and they're called magpies because they like bright things, right? So because that's totally me. Like I need color in my wardrobe. I cannot live with tweed and brown and gray and black. Like no, thank you. No. Give me color. Give me little sequins even, and I'm a happy girl.
I know you're looking at my black. This
You know,
is
you got
because
some fun hearts. You've got a good
women
pattern.
my size, all we get is black. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I have to tell you. No, you gave me a good segue. I have to tell you, as we were getting ready for this book, I thought we can't talk for half an hour about this book. it doesn't really warrant half an hour. Like questions. It's not raising a lot,
Are there
right?
questions online?
Jason made a suggestion of which book that Maya can give.
Okay, awesome.
Saying The Path to Love by Deepak Chopra.
Oh, I haven't read any Chopra, so that'd be a good one.
Oh,
Chopra.
Yeah.
See, I
Did I
know
say
there are a
wrong?
lot
I
of
may have said
exploring.
wrong.
I don't know. No, I was
And
second
Stephanie
guessing.
says we are of one mind, Maya. So
Oh.
you're not alone.
Okay.
And my little cousin is just wondering what we're talking about, so she's tuned in. So thanks for joining us, Bailey.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I thought that we would also, I've been seeing, so this book didn't really inspire a lot of questions in me. Just, it's kind of like a, hey, why don't you take a look and change your way? So I thought we could talk about books in general a little bit. And mostly I thought maybe, what are you guys reading? What have you read? What are you enjoying? And the reason why I said is because one of my top, like, to-be read books for the summer is about ladies and sizes and struggles that they go through. So
okay.
the reason I thought this would be good, because I've had like 3 people ask me for summer recommendations in the last few weeks, and I thought, well, why don't we go there? And this also brings up ideas of, you know, why we read these books, whether Hygge is valuable and whether other ones are. So on that line, one of my first to be read is getting a lot of press. It's called Hunger by Roxane Gray. She's a blogger, it's an older blogger, and it's a memoir of my body. So it's she has a past bestseller called Bad Feminist, and it is a memoir of food, weight, and self-image. So, you know, maybe along Amy Schumer lines.
It's going to be interesting to
Caitlin
see what you
Moran.
think about this.
I know.
As someone that doesn't like memoir.
I'm still trying, right? Like, I'm still trying.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first ones that I'm looking for. I think it's a good topic. I mean, you know, when you bring up ladies our size and struggles and female struggles, I know that there's a lot out there. So, and she's already had a bestseller, which, I mean, so this is like her second time out of the gate. Sometimes you get your stride a bit more. Maybe you find it as a writer, or you figure things out, or you don't let the editor change your writing style as much, or different things like that. So I'm going to give this one a go and give her a try. So how about you? What do you...
Well, I have a stack. So
Yeah.
I'll make, I don't know if you want me to start with one and we'll
Do whatever you want.
turns, but
Do your
anyways,
stack, do
I
your
brought a
ones.
stack. So
Okay, me too.
ones that I've read recently that I would definitely recommend, and I didn't have all of them with me, so I have some pictures, but
Okay.
Nemesis by Brendan Reichs. This is Kathy Reich's son.
Oh.
They do some joint writing, and this is his first solo.
Okay.
It's really very, very interesting. So basically it follows the story of a young girl that every year on her birthday, someone comes and murders her. So the first scene is she's murdered and then she wakes up in a field. And then the next year or 2 years later, she gets murdered and she wakes up in a field. And so it's like, what the heck is happening? And it's this whole mystery around this thing happening. The writing is beautiful. The scenes, the murder scenes in particular, are like, you can't stop. Anyways,
Okay.
I don't necessarily read a lot of mystery, and this has a little bit of a sci-fi twist to it, which is why I like it, but definitely recommend that, Nemesis. The other one is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It's quite popular right now. It comes across as a forlorn time travel love story, but it's not that at all. So, I can't tell you anymore without giving it away. So I'm not going to, other than
I wanna read
you
both
should
of these.
definitely read this. It's a great, I'm going to say it's science fiction, mystery, romance.
Why? Come on.
Right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, and then The Impossible Fortress is fairly new. It is just coming out like...
Not even yet. Leslie's one of those cool people
This is
that
a
gets advanced
This is an
reader's
advanced
copies.
reader copy. So
She's
I
cool
think
like
it came-
that.
Oh yeah, no, it comes out on the 2nd.
It's like a song.
Comes
isn't
out
it?
next month.
She's cool like that.
So this one, if you like the 80s or you grew up in the 80s, this one follows a young boy who writes a video game, and so it's kind of a little bit of a love story. Really quick, really easy read. It's kind of written in a YA juvenile, I would say YA type.
What's that other book?
But
that was
a lot of
similar to that?
1980s, Ready Player One.
Right. That's what I'm
Which I would also recommend, but
Yeah.
anyways. And then the one that I haven't read yet, this is on my list, is Dark World. It's written by Danielle Lee, who is from Red Deer. And it is a kind of gargoyles and sphinxes and demons and portals and all that kind of stuff. So you can tell what I like to read, obviously. But this is on my list, and so shout out to Red Deer.
Oh. Well, okay, we're doing our whole list. Okay, so I showed you one. Here's my next one for the summer, called Lincoln in the Bardo. It is about Willie Lincoln, 11-year-old son of Abraham Lincoln, and he dies, and he is buried in the graveyard, and the ghosts have to try and find a way to move him into the afterlife. I've read a couple books along this line, most especially the Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman, and I don't know what it is, this like setting in this weird graveyard with these, I often find they have some humor in them, and so I'm looking forward to that one. I have a bit of a little fascination with American history lately too, so that one I'm looking forward to. That's my fiction. This, I actually don't know if it's fiction or non-fiction. China Miéville writes sci-fi fantasy, and is really well known for his kind of alternate history, I think, stuff. And this is October, the story of the Russian Revolution. 1917 is the 100th anniversary of the Russian Revolution, so there is a lot of good fiction and non-fiction coming out from really awesome authors along this line. I have 3 or 4 that I've picked up already and been really kind of impressed by, so that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. And is that my last one that I put out? Yeah. And then 2 that I have read that I would recommend. This is YA, but it was fun. Just for the time of year. If you have any sports fans in the house, it was called A Season of Daring Greatly. It's about a young girl who becomes the first woman in in Major League Baseball. Just a fun, light, easy, one-day kind of read. And like I said, if you have sports fans in the house, could have had some fun sports terminology and stuff that I actually had to ask my husband about. And the book that changed my life, like I said, there was one this year that I have been telling everyone to read. It's called The Break by Katharina Vermette. She is a Canadian poet. This book is about women. More specifically, it's about Métis women in Winnipeg, and it's about violent crime and how women survive from that. You can see every woman in these people's stories, but you can also see the tragedy that is Métis and First Nations women's lives in Canada. The writing is stunning. I could have swam in her words. They was gorgeous and beautiful, and I would read this again and again, I think, actually. Like, I don't know what it was about this book, but it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I loved it, and I think people should read this book. Yeah, so that's kind of my list of what I've read and haven't read and where I'm headed in books.
Now I'm going to dump my list and read yours. Wow. Like, geez.
Well, what's your list? What's your list?
Well, I'm not reading these. So next month's book that's coming up is called The One in a Million Boy, and I'm really interested in reading that one. It's got some really good reviews. What's kind of curious about it is all I know is that there's a 104-year-old woman in it and an 11-year-old boy. So
yeah, I've started reading it.
That'll be some fun interaction.
So yeah, so I'm interested to see what that's like. I love characters. I'm a character person, so
you will like this book. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. I think I've read others that sound similar to it, and I really looking forward to this one actually.
So that one, right now I'm actually reading one copy of The Dressmaker, which is by Patricia O'Brien, which is like in summertime I read really light reading, so it's not the right author of the movie Dressmaker, but it's a really interesting story because this dressmaker was one of the passengers on the Titanic. Oh, so it's kind of a historical fiction summer easy read. I'm enjoying it so far. There's some innuendo there. There's some secret mysteries or something going on there, but wait to see what's happening there. And then I'm also going to actually read The Dressmaker,
which was I only watched the movie.
The movie was awesome.
It was awesome.
Awesome movie.
It's an Australian film with Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Random. Yeah. Like, it's really... Totally. Yeah, so if the book has any of that strength...
And that's the one by Rosalie Ham.
I think that's a good one to read.
Yeah, there's a few, so make sure you pick up the
right so I'm going to compare those two together and maybe talk about it.
Do you guys change your reading in the summer?
No. No.
You do? No?
I read a lot of... Like, I do read some romance, like, more so than I usually do. So that's a little bit there. And then I'm going to read a book that I got from Leslie called Swimming Lessons. It's on my stack as well, by Claire Fuller. I'm not sure too much about what it's about yet, but it was given to me by one of the best book recommenders there is, so I'm excited about that one. And yeah, so those are the 4 that are sitting on my table, plus I have a couple of nonfiction that I'm reading, because I do like to read these kinds of things. So I'm going to read the one, I think it's Bossy Pants or something.
Oh yeah, that's Tina Fey.
Tina Fey, yeah. And I will read also the other Jennifer Lawson book, Furiously Happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you now? I think a fun question to talk to readers about, or like to, is how do you read? Do you read ebooks? Do you read paper books? Do you listen to books? Do you like to read in the car? Do you read on the go? Do you read while you work out? Do you give yourself reading as a reward? Like, what's your reading habits? Like, do you have to read in the morning or at night? Like, what do you like to do? Get to know you.
Summertime, I read books.
Let's get our watchers
Physical books and sitting out there.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of everything. I enjoy ebooks. I think they're a lot easier to read, but I like the feel of a book as well. If I read at night before bed, then I tend to fall asleep, so I try to like find a comfy spot to sit rather than in bed, because otherwise I'll fall asleep. And then in the morning, first thing in the morning on the way to work when I'm driving, I always have an audiobook on the go. So as I'm like doing my hair or washing the dishes or cooking, I have my audiobook in, and yeah.
So you should tell people your audiobook secret.
That I listen to them on 2 times the speed so that they go twice as fast.
I have a girlfriend who likes audiobooks, and this changed her life, she said. This little secret.
So what I find is audiobooks, people that complain to me about audiobooks is like, oh, they're so slow, it's hard to get into them. The thing is because people read audiobooks at the speed that they talk, not the speed that they read. So if you've ever tried to follow along with an audiobook while you're reading it as well, it goes way slower than you can read. But if you listen to it on 2 times the speed, it's the same speed as you're reading. So it feels a lot more like you're reading a book, and you get a 10-hour one done in 5 hours. So
yeah, I love that little secret. So there's our little get to know you reading information. I used to love to read at bedtime, and I too fall asleep now. Like it's, but I do usually read for a few minutes before bed, and I like an ebook for that. I've turned into a pretty big ebook reader, actually. I almost prefer them. I will read a paper book if I'm really looking forward to a title and I can't get my hands on it. I'm a big library user though, so and I use our library has an ebook subscription service kind of thing and so I usually try to find one on there that I can at least have on the go. And yeah,
I read my smutty romances on my ebook because then people don't know what I'm reading.
Yeah.
I want people to see this. You can cover.
Yeah, exactly. So, I try to read. Definitely, like I like to read it, and I like to read for long periods. Though so which can annoy people.
Summertime is for.
But I like to sit down and get like a good hour to 2 hours of reading in, like either like during the day on a weekend or early
always
evening.
When people try to talk to you.
People
don't talk to people if they have a book.
If someone has an open book,
stay away.
Like it's just kind of rude, right? Like etiquette, book etiquette. Like why?
Don't
Unless it's like life or death, just give me my space, give me my time.
Although I don't like it when someone like if you're going to read in public, don't read like this. Read like this. So people can see what you're reading. So
like you don't have to like try and be like, I'm just stretching.
That's the thing. So I think we're out of time. That went really quickly.
Yeah.
Before we go though, I'd like to thank Olds Community Television for doing our filming, as well as Pandora's Books for hosting us. We have a little bit of a draw, so just so you know what our draw is, it's for a $10 gift certificate here at Pandora's, and basically all you have to do to enter is share the event and say you're going or interested. So go ahead, and for our next event, it should be up in the next couple days. Say that you like to share. The people that did are all in here. So we have our winner is Leanne Pillen. So Leanne, you can come down and visit Jason at Pandora's, then he'll have a $10 gift certificate for you. And
We're looking at July 13th.
July 13th is our next one. And Shauna, you mentioned the book already, but why don't you tell our
One in a
viewers
Million
again?
Boy by Monica Wood.
1 in a Million Boy by Monica Wood. It's already shaping up to be a really good book. So,
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in.
And we will put a list, that was the question, we will put a list of the books that we just recommended tonight on Facebook.
oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
sure. We
We're
can put them on
asking for that
Facebook for
on
sure,
the
and
comments. So thank you for
we'll put
suggesting
them on
that.
our Pandora's Facebook or not Facebook website as well, pandorasbooks.ca.
Great.
See you next month.
Thanks, guys.